welcome to Barkhang Monastery, lovelies. Sure, I don't need to tell you what kind of shiny, bald, holy Joe you can find shaking his prayer beads in this fine establishment. No, not Moby. It's never Moby, no matter how good you are for Santa. It is, of course, the common Tibetan monk. Lots of different species of monk live all over the world. We're in Tibet. These are Tibetan monks. There are worse kinds of monk out there. We're relatively lucky to have run into a breed that don't know kung fu or any exorcism rites to drive Lara's tar-black soul away from this sacred place. This lot will just poke at you with spears. Pray you never run into the monks from Horse Island in the Bering Sea. Don't think they're even real monks, to be honest. All their hair just happened to fall out from their nuclear weapons testing. You can spot two separate monk types around Barkhang Monastery here. Standard monks and elder monks, and I think the only real difference between them is that they wear different colour pants. The elder monks favouring bright red crop disco flares over their lower ranking brethren's burgundy breeches. A sign of status that clearly signals the order in which they get to use the showers in the morning and what direction the turns go in their nightly Pictionary tournaments. Legend has it that the elder monks are also immune from going to jail in Monopoly and automatically begin each new game with a train station of their choice, but such secret practices are hard to confirm in this tight-lipped community who I fully intend to murder to the last man. That's right, nobody's walking out here alive. I told you from the very beginning I was going for every possible kill, regardless of how friendly our victims turn out to be, and I damn well meant it. But fraggers, you mumble through a mouthful of jammy dodger, didn't those monks attack you first? Are we not merely acting in the most desperate of self-defense when we perforate their screaming bodies with automatic gunfire, often from several dozen feet away, with no warning shots? Well, I say, steepling my fingers under my chin and fixing you with a hard stare, pass me one of them there jammy dodgers, and I'll tell you, There's only a few left, you venture reluctantly, hoping to appeal to a sense of biscuit-related empathy that does not and has never existed within me. That's fine, I nod, pulling the packet across the table towards me and immediately cramming the remaining 5 jammy treats into my mouth all at once with such vicious force that tears begin to run from my eyes. Tears of your own begin to run now. Some catching the airborne flecks of biscuit crumb that dart from my mouth like a plague of confectionery-based flies. I didn't catch that. I said it's self-defense now we've pissed the entire monastery off by killing one of them. Oh indeed, my little biscuit slave. Oh indeed. For you see, when left to their own devices, the monks here are entirely harmless, and are even useful allies in the fight against the heavily armed Fiamma Nera mercenaries that stalk these halls. They will usually attack Bartoli's goons on sight, and in a one-on-one brawl, they'll very usually win. However, they have an incredibly low tolerance for Lara's homicidal bullshit, and if she accidentally kills or even too gravely wounds just one single monk, the entire monastery will come down howling for her blood. Goodness, you gasp. That must be especially difficult to manage given that you can't manually switch enemies with Tomb Raider 2's indiscriminate targeting system, nor see exactly who you're supposed to be aiming at when pointing your guns into a brawling throng of monks and mercenaries. Absolutely, I murmur, now picking the smaller morsels of jammy dodger crumb out of the folds of my jeans. In an ideal world, you could just hang back from the melee and kill off any Fiamma Nera shitbeak that manages to survive. But what actually happens in practice is that a couple of them fight the monks, and a couple of them will stay shoulder to shoulder with their friends that are getting the absolute balls stabbed out of them while firing at you instead. So, should you return fire to defend yourself, you'll likely end up wounding one of the monks by accident anyway, unless you want to add another 20 minutes of runtime to this already exhausting stage by running away and hiding in another room, periodically poking your head around the door to see if they've yet figured out how to prioritize combat-related threats. You nod slowly. Sounds like it'd be easier to just kill any fucker that moves. Just like in real life, I rasp, glancing across to the kitchen where the knives dangle invitingly from their hooks on the wall. The end. Buy it in hardback immediately. So yeah, bloody monks. Great idea, great bit of level design, all the credit in the world to Core there, but because the only non-lethal NPC you've ever met in this franchise up to this point is poor old Winston the Butler, tottering around Croft Manor and suffering the endless indignity and chronic health problems that come from being repeatedly locked in the freezer and being jumped on from the roof, the game has no actual mechanic in place for micromanaging who you should be allowed to kill. I mean, I've always found it makes more sense in terms of character canon for Lara to be shooting all the monks dead anyway. Gotta push some more goddamn boxes around now to uncover a secret passage back to the main hall. What's even in these crates? These fucking shipping-sized containers as big as a man and 4 times as wide. Souvenirs for the monastery gift shop? We're out of chocolate Buddhas. Where's that work experience kid? Ashley! Go to the stockroom, get some more of the chocolate Buddhas, will you, lad? But brother Cho, the stockroom's up 4 separate ladders and through a partially submerged pitch-black corridor with a boulder trap in it. Do you want enlightenment? Eh? Do you want to achieve nirvana? And stop whining and go get more tawdry, useless possessions for us to sell. But I'm in a wheelchair. Well, then you're gonna miss your bloody lunch break, aren't you? Buddha will beat you up, Ashley. I'm not fucking around. He'll straight up break the rest of you if you don't sell enough chocolate. What'd you think, Ashley? You sorry ass down here with your chromosomatic disease and your friends from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we'd show you some chants and teach you kung fu and we wouldn't want shit in return. You dying work-shy little pleb. What were you shooting for with that shaved head, Ashley? Jet Li and fearless? You look like Billy Corgan just got born with a shit that killed Benjamin Button, you lazy, wheezing little beggar on wheels. Professor X with late-stage Ebola Zaire looking motherfucker. Go get the chocolate Buddhas, for I teach you all about kung fu and how easy it is to fuck up an 85-pound crybaby in a wheelchair with it, Ashley. These Barkhang monks are real bastards, Lovelace. Don't you ever feel bad about killing them. My god, that's the scariest keyhole in the world. Look at it gazing into your soul right there. Like poking your fingers into the empty, broken nose socket of a cocaine addict. Why would you ever do that? Well, that's where they keep the treasure crusaders. Alright, here's your first serious problem of the anti-monk, anti-medikit playthrough. As soon as we get to the back of the room here, the game drops a 3-man death squad at the door behind us. There's a couple of instances where these fuckers roam around together in Barkhang Monastery, and as we discovered last time in the Tibetan foothills, their cozy winter gear is made of enchanted reindeer hair or magical frost donkey flesh or something, because they can take one screaming hell of a shooting before they go down now. But what you can do, and really what you must do to avoid the dishonor of actually using your healing items, is womp out your M16, which gives you just enough of a range advantage to cut a couple of them down before they can get close enough to start firing and doing some real damage to you. Of course, if you haven't pissed off the monks, they'll do all the heavy lifting for you, but as I say, they routinely mock children in wheelchairs, so, you know, do you want to be fighting alongside those sorts of people? I know I don't. Plus, there's something un-Tomb Raiderly about being able to point your weapon at something and letting it live. Maybe that kind of shit flies in the reboot universe, I don't know, but here, I mean, this is how I like to remember Lara. A one-woman Viking horde, looting, murdering and pillaging anything that claps eyes on her. She is essentially quite the holy crusader, I feel, falling upon these heathen temples and holy places, slaying their pagan populace and relieving them of their godless artifacts. Look how clean she is too, look how well groomed she keeps herself at all times. This new Lara Croft, I tell you, her face is always covered in dirt and Christ knows what, bear shit and dust. She's unkempt, she's a bedraggled little madam. She looks like she just finished cleaning a factory chimney in a Charles Dickens novel. She looks like she's about to ask me for a shilling and cough her goddamn cholera all over my shoes. I don't care if it's realistic, goddammit. I've had enough of games trying to be realistic, because they just make a rod for their own bloody backs, don't they? Oh, sorry, fraggers, you've reached your carry weight limit. you have to leave this perfectly sellable shotgun out here in the wasteland, or at the very least limp back to the nearest town with it, because realism, because actual human beings can only carry so much. Oh shit, raiders! Quick, that one just emptied an assault rifle clip into your lung. Kill him outright by punching him in the foot. Yeah, great job. Now, as I was saying, it's either this shotgun or your broken coffee mug collection. Because realism, because immersiveness. Oh god, a two-headed cow! If I want realism, I'll go make a sandwich, sit on a chair in my house, and eat it. Alright? Crusts and all. And then, sometime after I've eaten it, I'll sit on the toilet and I'll shit out the bits of it that my body didn't break down into fuel, fat, or other beneficiary nutrient rolls. After which, I will clean the crease between my buttocks with a length of purpose appropriate tissue and wash my hands. Because that's real life, and it's boring. And I don't need your half-assed attempts at it ruining video games or the characters I love in them. Alright? Now give Lara back her bath and her goddamn butler before I break your windows, you mud-humping hippie bastards. This is a great level though. Second best in the entire game by my reckoning, only elbowed out of the top spot by the rainstorm of middle finger flipping gauntlets that is the Temple of Xi'an. What Barkhang Monastery does have over the temple is that it feels much more rewarding on an exploratory level. You're working towards one of those classic St. Francis Folly stage endgames where you got a row of locks barring the exit gate, and each of the keys, or in this case prayer wheels, has its own little epic quest attached to it. There's a lovely pair of outside areas to see. There's one in the outlying hills and one out on the monastery rooftops with their own chambers and outbuildings to raid. Really, just an excellent, beautifully plotted bit of map design that gradually reveals itself to the player at a meticulous pace. Now, with that said, it's also maybe the one level where I have the hardest time buying any of the puzzle logic. And this is a problem endemic to any setting in Tomb Raider that living people regularly inhabit as their place of work or home. What kind of trap-ridden death hole do these monks live in? God damn it, in the corridor leading to the dining room, there are 6.5-foot blades snapping in and out of the wall. The dining room! And it's not like the dining room backs out onto the kitchen or anything. Somebody has to carry 24 bowls of fish and rice past those fucking things 3 times a day. I'll eat in my room, thanks, you mad bastards. Assuming I don't get run over by a razor-edged wheel the size of a fucking shed on my way there. Okay, scumbag goon squad number 2 coming up here. These are the most dangerous by far, not only because there's 4 of them hunting for Lara together, but also because you've got next to no room out here to deal with them. You can take one out right off the bat there. And once he's down, get that distance between you again. There goes another one. And you're now in range, so the last 2 you're going to have to get messy with behind the wall here. Fuck off, you fuck off to the lands of off-fuckery. You look like a pair of goddamn bank robbers. HSBC's about 8,000 miles to the east, boys. You knucklehead. I told you this wasn't a Wells Fargo. Everything went pretty much as well as could be expected there, I guess. You know, sometimes 2 of the gang run back the way they came and you gotta go in after them and flush them out. Always a pain in the ass because there's no room to fight properly down there. But there's also a nasty little glitch you can run into as you're jogging through the upper corridor that drops you down into the yard, where the cultists can shoot through the walls separating you from below. You can drop an absolute shitload of hell from that nonsense and have precisely nothing to do about it. It ruined more than one run of this level for me, I assure you. They're also sadly unaffected by the traps in the monastery, as are the monks. I mean, if we hadn't pissed them off to a state of homicidal rage right at the outset, I'm sure you'd have seen by now at least a couple of them casually strolling through the slicing corridor blades and the wheels of doom as if they were figments of your fucking imagination. And I mean, they're not. I tried very hard for them to be, but Lara's power of belief is so strong, they just kill her outright every single time. And so I guess You know, in a lot of ways, I'm a better monk than they'll ever be. But then I'm a woman, and I'll never get to be the Grand Elder, so what's the point? They're the only ones that get to ride Buddha. Picked up our second prayer wheel back there. Actually an Indian Buddhist invention, according to the Tibetans themselves, usually attributed to the founder of Madhyamaka Buddhism, Nagarjuna, who, among other important philosophies, developed the Prajna Paramita Sutras, from which one of the most fundamental Buddhist notions was born, that of anutpada, non-genesis or non-birth. The idea that reality and the elements that constitute it have no beginning, middle, or end, coming from nowhere and departing to nowhere, liberating the world from the concepts of birth, time, and death. That's as much as I want to get into that, really. Not that I don't love delving into a bit of Buddhist philosophy, but by goodness, we'd be here forever, wouldn't we? Buddhists devote their entire lives to comprehending this shit. I'm certainly not going to get anywhere with you over the course of the remaining quarter of an hour or so we got left of this video. What I will tell you is that prayer wheels were supposedly invented to give your bog-standard illiterate Buddhist peasant, who would have been unable to read and recite the prayers or sutras, the same chance at achieving enlightenment as anybody else, as the turning of the wheels, which were traditionally mounted on spindles in large numbers and fixed to a decorative wall fitting, was deemed to have the same effect as vocally chanting the sutra, which is inscribed into the wheel itself in Sanskrit. There's more to it than that, obviously. The road to Nirvana is a rockier climb than just turning up a couple of times a week and flapping at a row of holy doodads, but there's a number of different kinds of prayer wheel, some powered by water, wind, or fire, with the idea being that any such element that passes through the wheel will end up purifying or dispelling the negative karma of anything it touches. There's even electric-powered prayer wheels, Thardokolo as they're known, but the catch there is that there's a bit of a debate in Buddhist circles as to whether the positive energy harvested from them goes straight to the electric company or not, which they need in this fucking country at least, I promise you. Gouging unscrupulous bastards that they are. As I say, there's 5 prayer wheels to collect here, but I think Lara manages to snag herself an extra one while we're not looking, because if you remember that piss-awful Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie, this is actually one of the last times I'm going to be able to just say that piss-awful Tomb Raider movie without telling you which piss-awful Tomb Raider movie I'm talking about, isn't it? Soon it'll have to be that piss-awful Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander, or that first lot of piss-awful Tomb Raider movies. Because it will be piss-awful. Trust your Lord Commander. I know what piss-awful smells like. I got a carpet that suffered young kids and an incontinent Labrador simultaneously. I can taste its tangy reek from here. Both the movie and the carpet. I mean, you've seen the trailer, haven't you? It's the same thing as the first goddamn film. Oh gosh, Daddy left me a trail of breadcrumbs to a relic in a heathen land. Here's some shitty supporting characters for me to have expository conversations with, and an evil Indiana Jones villain with faceless henchmen to shoot at. Stop trying to make Lara relatable. You know why she doesn't talk much in these early games? She's not good at it. She doesn't do people. Even when she's running you through the tutorial stages, she sounds like she's about 3 seconds away from losing her patience and putting one in the back of your head. She doesn't want you in her house. She don't want to teach you how to swim. She wants to get on a plane to Peru, go scratch another half-dozen species off the endangered list. I think the only human interaction she honestly enjoys is kicking bewildered customs officers in the face and paying the occasional visit to conservation outfits. I discovered a new species of monkey while I was in India. Incredibly rare. I think there may just be the one colony left. That's wonderful, Lara. Do you know where they are now? Absolutely. And then she just starts throwing their bullet-shredded corpses out the back of her Jeep while casually sipping on her dodo eggnog. Well, I'm off to kill some hawksbill turtles with a hammer. Cheerio. That's gotta be the Tomb Raider movie that's begging to be made. The woman is a fucking sociopath. That's why she's so great. Don't give her any kind of redeeming character arc. Don't have her suddenly realise that all of her animal murder and grave robbing is morally reprehensible because That's not how sociopaths operate. The first scene of the film needs to be Lara gunning down golden eagles in her attack helicopter, and last scene should be her firing tomahawk missiles into an elephant sanctuary. In all seriousness though, how hard can it be to make a solid Tomb Raider movie? Open with Lara in the Lost Valley fighting dinosaurs. Get her into Egypt for the meat of the film on the trail of some artifact chasing wacko with some proper traps, atmosphere and attack mummies, and finish strong with a Tomb Raider 3 tribute where whatever trinket the mad scientist was chasing turns him into a half spider abomination that, it doesn't need some elaborate ritual to destroy. Just once. It'd be nice to see a big bad go down to just sustained gunfire. Just several thousand Uzi bullets, a few well-placed grenade launcher shots, just to have it succumb to its fucking wounds. And then, obviously, the Elephant Sanctuary finale. That's very important. There will be no negotiation on the Elephant Sanctuary finale. But, god damn it, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I think Lara snags herself an extra prayer wheel in here because there's that snatch of dialogue between her and that man Tomb Raider played by Daniel Craig in the movie where she accuses him of stealing one of her prayer wheels in the past. That's supposed to set up their fractured relationship, you see. You see how clever the writing is? It's almost like that fucking nonsense with a murderous training robot didn't happen. Except it did, and I will never forgive it. Fuck you, Tomb Raider movie. Fuck all three of you. Look at this door. God damn it. Really? That's a real nice collection of broken fence posts you've locked there. Jesus Christ. Alright, and we got us a rooftops key, so guess where we're headed. Keep an eye on those eyes, by the way. Those decorative eyes you see about the place. Some of them move. Swear to God. Thought it was just the textures warping at first, but no, they legitimately flick back and forth like they're scanning for thieves and other karmic wrong-uns. They can't do nothing to you. They're not laser powered to incinerate anybody below a certain karmic threshold. Missed a trick there. There does seem to be a fundamental misunderstanding of how karma actually works, especially on social media. Especially where I live. Every time I'm forced to make the accursed trip to the shops around the corner, I always end up stuck queuing behind two ghastly, nattering estate ravens who insist on including everybody within a 2-street radius in their conversation through merit of ear-splitting volume. And she's done my Jason wrong, I tell ya. She's knocking about with that bloke what lives above the chemists. Everybody knows it. Don't you worry though. Karma will get her. Karma will come back around for her, it will. And I mean, half of me wants to interject with no love, it won't. You see, karma is not a vengeful poltergeist of invisible divine retribution, hanging around in the wings, waiting for your son's fiancée to welcome another man's penis into her baby chasm before it has her run down while she's crossing the street. It's really more of a simple concept whereby the negative energy you espouse or project into the world via immoral behaviour makes it a worse place for all of us to live, and so you as an individual should strive to do good and positive things to assist in dispelling this negative energy lest it eventually corrupt us all. Now, kindly shut the fuck up and pay for your scouring pads. But of course, the other half of me knows that me saying that would just have the pair of them stare at me like I'm one of the scary brown people they want to fire out of their country in a cannon, so, why waste my breath? Couple of precious gemstones there. Again, so long as you don't shoot at the monks, they have absolutely no problem with you blowing their centuries-old ornate windows to pieces and stealing these fucking things. What are possessions, after all? Two of the only objects in this stage where the placement actually makes any sense. The rest of it is basically a legion of keys to commonly used rooms left in areas which could only be more fatal to the presence of human beings by being made out of flesh-eating beetles or fogged with venomous manticore farts. What the fuck? Look at the size of that! Was that anywhere near that size when we picked it up just now? Was that... What did it do? Eat all my fucking medikits? Anyway, yeah, Hidden keys in deadly trap-laden corridors. Keys that only you seem to actually need, seeing as you pop a door open and hey, here's 5 monks and 4 members of the mafia. How the fuck did you assholes get in here? Oh, the teleporter on your magical gangster spaceship, of course. How silly of me. Like, I can pretty much buy the random or improbable item placement in most of the Tomb Raider stages. Even ancient civilization is actively trying to troll you with trials or attempting to keep you out of their temples while, while keeping it fair. I can get behind that. They gotta give you a fighting chance, It's like in the Saw movies where Jigsaw always gives you a way out of his traps. Otherwise, logic would just dictate that they never made any keys or escape trap doors whatsoever, wouldn't it? They'd just drop a fucking ceiling on you as soon as you got anywhere near their treasure chambers, and that'd be the end of that. I mean, there's some limited evidence of exactly that kind of methodology going on in the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Outside Khufu's burial chamber, archaeologists unearthed what appeared to be a very primitive machine designed to drop enormous blocks of granite to either trap a sneaky looter inside, keep him out of the inner sanctum, or crush him outright, depending on how unfortunately placed they were when the device kicked in. But a far more basic trap that was rumoured to have been used in a number of tombs involved an empty chamber that would dump hundreds of tons of sand down behind the thief in what would have almost been a controlled partial demolition, which would have sealed the intruder inside forever. Of course, none of this shit actually worked. At least if it did, it only worked once, because the vast majority of all the Egyptian tombs were eventually cleared out by thieves, and any that weren't picked clean had the remainders carted off by government-sanctioned scholars and explorers. But it seemed that the Egyptians had that figured out by at least the time of the New Kingdom, as they appointed a special necropolis police force called the Medjay to patrol the valleys and royal cemeteries, who were notable for both their fierce combat prowess and their vicious law-enforcing companions. Not police dogs, no. Not even police camels. You ready for this? You're not even remotely. Police attack baboons. Let me just give that to you a second time. Police baboons. That's incredible, isn't it? Those K9 units are looking pretty damn tame now, aren't they? Imagine another boring day running your methamphetamine operation when all of a sudden the windows break and like 20 fucking baboons leap inside in riot gear, screaming and hissing and drop kicking your henchmen off balconies and shit. My god. Why do we no longer fund the attack baboons? This should keep those monk fucks good and thirsty. That's all it takes. That's all it takes to fuck with the monastery's entire water supply. Brother Cho's upstairs halfway through scrubbing his balls clean in the shower and the water dries up. For fuck's sake, who's messing with the crate? Last prayer wheel's right behind this one, and then we can finally make our way over to the exit. Come to mama. That ideal Tomb Raider movie we were talking about could do with some monks in there as well, I figure. Dunno where or how, just tell me a movie that was worse because monks were in it. Kung Fu monks anyway. You know the ones I mean. Not the Friar Tuck looking. Although, saying that, god damn it, you kids are too young, aren't you? This one's for the Crusade Elders. Elders, you remember Dungeon Keeper 2? You with me? You remember they had the monks that looked like the traditional fat little old habit-wearing god-botherers from Europe that actually had the brutal martial arts chops to the fucking mountain people? They... Oh god, I missed that game. Alrighty, here we are. We can finally get shot of our payload of prayer wheels. Of course, they're nearly the size of you in boots. Of course they are. Look at this, for Christ's sake. Look at this! How have you carried 5 of these bloody things around, woman? One prayer wheel is like 4 times the size of a damn backpack. What are they, mogwais? Did you get them wet, Lara? Did you fucking feed them after midnight? Crazy Tomb Raider and its crazy, crazy shit. We gotta work that into the movie as well. Lara finds a wee little golden cat ornament, pops it in her backpack. Then all of a sudden, while she's talking to someone, it expands to 18 times its original size and weight and breaks her fucking back. Bloody hell! I can't feel my legs! We can get shot of the seraph we picked up at the end of the deck stage here now as well. Last lingering reminder of a truly coma-inducing trip to the bottom of the ocean. Thank fuck that one stayed the same as when we found it, eh? I've expected to pull a blinged out copy of Christ the Redeemer out of that TARDIS of a backpack though. Anyway, thank you, please hold your applause, save it for someone who cares. Next week, we head into the treacherous ice-covered catacombs of the Talion, the first of a couple of very decent cave-type levels, in which we'll also meet the noisiest bastards in maybe the entire Tomb Raider franchise, the Yetis. Until then, lovelies.